Hey everyone, what's going on? I figured I'd throw that up there just to either make people angry or just show off. No, I'm kidding. I'm still testing.
You want to play that game?
Whoa!
You want to play that
Do
game?
you have a touch screen though?
Huh? Yeah. Well, technically, yeah.
It's a touch pad, I think. A touch pad.
Now with that, take that.
Oh, look at that! It looks like a mirror.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the new Evercade. We are going to talk about
I can lower the stakes on that, sir.
Indeed. So we have 3 Gamers Guild members at the same time here. We got Bacon Ice Cream Productions, Retro Rich here as our special guest.
Hi, Michael Hayes.
Welcome. What's up, Michael? We have Geeks with Cash, and then we have whoever I am. So this is going to be a fun time.
Nice.
Joey Vibes in the house. What's going on?
Joey, how's it going, man?
Hey, hello.
Blood and teeth. What's happening? What's going? Good to see you. Good to see you. PJ Smith, as always. Silly Club members all around. Christopher Westerman.
Hey. What's going on?
Hey.
There's Christopher.
The Legend of Nelda, A Link to the Fats. Amico for life.
I swear he changes the name every week.
Here's Johnny. What's going on,
What's
man?
What's up, Johnny?
Salvador in the house. Oh, I got to talk about some television
There's
stuff.
Amico Bro.
Amico Bro.
Hello.
Yeah, he was saying. Amico Bro was saying earlier, like right before I what's up, NLG? The Nintendo Direct was today, and the only thing I caught because I just caught it right before we started was what's up, Kurt? Tab.
Hey,
yes.
Kurt.
Oh, there's new emojis for the Silly Club. So if you join the Silly Club now, we got I got an Evercade emoji and some 3DO emojis.
Nice.
So enjoy.
That's awesome.
But no, I was gonna talk about some Rab looks different today. Yeah, totally different Rab. We told him, hey, you need to get more handsome. And there you go.
I mean, we tried replacing him with a flamingo, and that worked for a bit.
Rab is under the weather right now. We wish him well, but he will not be joining us today. But hello out there in Rab land. I hope you get well. Get well.
Yeah, man.
Luke's Awakening, dude. What's going on? I can officially confirm my Intellivision controller also dispenses blueberry preserves.
It's they
do. It's you type in on the classic controller. You type in 456, and then you just repeatedly push that. And out the back, well, mine's obviously not plugged in. But normally, you'd have blueberries dispensing in your hands.
You know,
it's
I
fact.
call shenanigans. It should have been blackberry preserves.
What's up, Camaro?
Blueberry. We all know blackberry is the superior berry.
Hasselhoff.
What's up, Hasselhoff?
How's it going?
Good to see you, man. God, I love this community. Plus, we can't stop the Amico train. Well, we're just waiting to hear some news.
Yes.
This is about all I can show. Is it's a controller. Hey, look, it changes orient. Oh, it's locked.
No, it doesn't. All right now. Apparently, you have it locked, sir.
Now it changes orientation.
Nice.
So you can do the auto or the lock. We'll be more about that and who came up with that when we can talk about it. But nice. Yeah, a few little improvements and stuff. So it's fun. Anyways, what I really want to, I'm excited to have Rich on because Rich, we haven't talked to you in a while, and we were just talking Sega Master System.
Yeah.
Has it been like a year?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Last time I was on, I was in an undisclosed location. I was at a conference that I actually just came back from about a week ago. So yeah, it's just about a year.
Oh my God! Yeah, because I by the way, I love the Arcade Legends cabinet, which is amazing.
Yes.
Up and running because I think I was on Calling All Retro. Was it Calling All Retro Gamers?
Mm-hmm.
And you were assembling that as we were talking.
That's right.
So that's good to see that. But we were talking right before we went live about Golden Axe Warrior for the Sega Master System, and you have a series that's just been constantly digging into this game. It is it's what would you even call it? Is it like the answer to Zelda for Sega Master System?
Oh, I mean, 100%. It is 100% a Zelda Zelda-like. Right?
Yeah, it's a Zelda clone basically.
Yeah, full top down. Obviously the map is completely different. All of the dungeons are different. There are different weapons. The main protagonist can use magic, which is not a thing that Link can do. It's yes, Luke's Awakening.
Yeah. By the way, chat, let us know, chat, because I had Sega Master System for a little bit. I did some collecting. I decided to get rid of it, unfortunately, just temporarily. Focus pretty much on my Sega Genesis collection because that was more what I was familiar with. I will go back to it when I start when I kind of get to my limit on Sega Genesis because I'm not trying to get the whole library. I'm trying to get everything I remember as a kid and recommendations and new stuff. But as far as Sega Master System, anyone in the chat, please let us know about what you think the best games are on the Sega Master System, and then there you go. Salvador saying Phantasy Star on
Phantasy
Sega.
Star you should definitely pick up if you like RPGs. 2, 3, and 4 were on the Genesis.
Yep.
Before they went to the online ones on the Dreamcast. And so a lot of people like myself who never had a Master System and couldn't find any of the games once the Genesis launched missed out on the first one.
Yeah, and the first one's really fun. I have a story about the first one, but maybe we could get that out later, I guess. But yeah, no.
Gain Ground is another one there.
Gain Ground is a good game for sure.
Gain Ground is also very good on the Genesis.
Yes. About Rambo. What about was it Rambo or Rambo 3?
Rambo 3 I know was on the Genesis. I don't know if it went to the Master System or not.
There were 2 Rambo games on the Master System. Rambo 3 was it's almost like a
Rampage
game. And then the other one is an action game, which is good. First
Phantasy Star rivals the NES first Mother RPG.
I would agree. I loved Phantasy Star when I was playing it. I grew up with it.
Missile Defense 3D. That was with the 3D glasses, the plug-in 3D glasses.
That one was wild.
Nick did a video on that with the 3D glasses. That's the only reason I know that.
3D glasses are kind of bizarre because of the way they work is kind of a shutter mechanism that alternates between eyes, so that it basically gives you this illusion of depth. It kind of imitates the same way that the red and the green
Miracle Warriors
would do on the paper ones that you used to get to make your vision off.
Rastan, of course.
3D. But it just does it in a different way.
Yeah, is that on Geekstorian right now, Nick?
Do what?
Is that video on Geekstorian right now? The 3D glasses.
3D glasses, yes.
Yeah. You guys got to check that video out. It just talks about gaming. I think it's under oddities or accessories or something.
It's under oddities, yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool. It kind of shows how they try to do 3D on a Sega on an 8-bit system, pretty much.
Rastan is definitely a good one to pick up.
I like Rastan.
It's very Conan the Barbarian. It's a pretty hard game overall, but it's really, and the jumping is a little weird. There's a high jump in it where you have to you sort of have to press up when you jump or something like that. It's weird. It took me I got really stuck on that until I looked that up and started understanding that.
That's a weird one because sometimes there can be a fantastic game. The up jump is just so odd because everybody's so used to a Mario jump.
It's just the normal jump is just jump, but to do the high jump on it, you have to press up and jump or something like that in order to do it. And it's kind of a weird jumping mechanism that's kind of strange. And honestly, Sega's kind of known for that. Even Revenge of Shinobi was a little weird, right, with its double jump because you had to time it just right. You'd have to jump and wait a little bit and then look for part of the animation and then hit jump again to be able to do the second part of the jump. It was very touchy. You eventually found a rhythm with it, but it took a minute.
By the way, I did figure out how to double jump using this controller. So all the double jump jokes. No, I did. I know how to do it now. You just go, did it. I was going like this and like I didn't understand. I thought it was is it pressure sensitive? And people are like, dude, you gotta I don't.
Yeah, you just tap and tap again. Yeah,
it's like double tapping real quick. So, Joe Montana football. Oh, are you doing Super Bowl? So what's up, Flyleaf? There it is, Joe Montana football right there.
Yes, and yes, you're absolutely right. I am doing this for the Super Bowl. There will be a live stream on my channel on Sunday.
Ooh.
The weird thing about the Master System to me,
do a video on
it overlapped generations a lot more than the Super Nintendo did with its previous generation. Because you'll see a lot of games that were Genesis headline titles like Sonic that also got a release on the Master System.
Yes. Yeah. I think the reason it was because in some of the other regions, Master System like held on for a really, really long time, especially in Brazil.
Right?
Yeah, Brazil, it was huge.
Yeah. It was crazy huge. So it was
still is my understanding.
Exactly. Yeah, it was common for Sega to just keep pumping out titles, even through the the early '90s, because it was like, why not? People somewhere is going to buy it.
Right.
Joey says, I think I mentioned this on Monday. I got rid of half my wrestling figure collection for 3DO games and some Sega Master System. What about great football?
I don't know about that one.
Well, there's great basketball and great baseball too. I had those.
Yeah, those great games.
And I
maybe not so
got rid of them because they were so great. I never really dived too much into them, but
I got into a couple of them, and I did actually a couple Fun for Fives on some of the great. I think I did baseball and football. And it's when you've got Joe Montana, you don't need anything else. So it's just
then you already have the great.
That's
the
it.
Greatest.
That is. It's the one. It's the one. I mean, I love playing it all the time, and it's good to have it. It's good to have it back because I had my original copy that I started doing my my yearly thing on, and then I just had to pick up a new one, just over the last couple weeks here. So
as far so someone's in. And I guess I'm going to have to be obsoleted out of this one, but like if someone was starting to collect for Sega Master System, what would be your top, like let's say your top 5 games? And chat, please ring in on yours as well. What would be the top 5 games that shows off the Sega Master System and makes someone go, I'm going to collect for that. I want to play these games. What would you go with first, Rich?
So, I mean, I'm a huge RPG fan.
Okay.
So like my list, if it was just me personally, it would be heavily RPG. So I mean,
it seems like those are nice. Like Alex, I had that. Was it Alex Kidd in Miracle World? Is that like the RPG action kind of?
It's like it's more of a platformer.
See, there's Sneed's talking about it right there. Yeah. That was the one I started playing.
It was always like action platform.
Wonder Boy. There you go.
Shinobi World.
Yep, Shinobi.
The one that was on there.
Shinobi World. That was another one, right?
Yep.
So, Dragon Crystal
is a good game. I think though my list would. I mean, it's kind of mean because it's like here, just go and get the most expensive games for Master System. Phantasy Star, Golden Axe Warrior.
Golden Axe Warrior. Seeing you play that though, it's just like, wow, this is worth. Having a Sega Master System.
It's so good. I mean, so like of those, those two, I would throw Miracle Warriors in there because at least when you're starting to collect, you can pick it up for a really nice price. And then actually that can get you going on your RPG adventure. And it is a good game. And if I were to round up the top 5, Joe Montana Football has to be in that conversation because it's my favorite sports game of all time.
Okay.
And then it gets harder to get to try to break out and then here, try this other thing. But I think I would actually pick Zillion.
Okay, that's something I haven't.
Which is it's an action, sort of an action platformer, where you play this a spy. Yes, there was Michael.
Michael, there is. Oh, see. I used to always call it Wise when I was a kid, but Yeast.
Yes.
It's that was book 1 and 2. On TurboGrafx was some of my favorite. I actually played through them because it was my first experiences. I never liked RPGs until I picked up that game. The Yeast series, and I even got Yeast Origins on Switch, which I played about halfway through and never went back to. But it's a great game too. But that was kind of what made me go, okay, these are actually good. Growing up, I was like, no, it has to be action. I don't want to think. I don't want to do turn-based. I don't want to do spells. I don't want. But when it gets a good story, like Yeast and stuff like that, and from what I'm seeing, obviously like Golden Axe Warrior and stuff like that, you're having fun. You're going out grinding, get what you need to do, come back, talking to people. The story's great. But anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
no worries. But if I were to expand on the list, there would be some other titles that I actually got into later in collecting. There's one with a really odd title. It's called like Govelius or something like that. I keep butchering it every time I try to pronounce it, but it has a subtitle. It's called like Valley of Doom. That's an action adventure that actually kind of like splits the middle between a top-down adventure, kind of like a Zelda, and then a side-scrolling adventure, almost like Zelda 2. And it's a really, really cool game that I think people that like those kind of games would need to check out. I think it's very, very cool. And then, of course, I mean, the chat was popping out with a whole bunch of, like Sega classics. You've got Shinobi. There's Outrun on Master System, which is a really good version of that game.
A lot of people said that Outrun's actually good on Master System.
Yeah.
Does it play more like kind of Rad Racer style, or
or
for
sure,
or something? Some of those old 8-bit like racers.
Yeah. It does, but it's fun. It's fun to do that. Enduro Racer is kind of fun. Yeah, Enduro Racer is a fun racing game that's really cool. It's got some kind of like, it's a little bit of like an Excite Bike vibe.
So this is one of my favorite, not to like throw it off the subject. Victory Run on TurboGrafx is kind of like that style. It's almost like, even though it's 16-bit, it's like a cross between an 8-bit and a 16-bit. But it's weird, but it's a good one. It's one I had as a kid, anyways.
Yeah, no, that is pretty cool. But I mean, the cool thing about Master System is like you have all of those classics, right? You've got the ones that are known. I mean, Space Harrier is really good on Master System. I like it a lot.
Sonic's on there too.
Sonic is on there, absolutely. It plays a little weirder than you would expect, obviously, because it doesn't have like what the Genesis can do. But it is a cool version of that game. And it's worth the look, especially if you get it imported, because here in the United States, if you had a US copy of Sonic
good music. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's absolutely out of this world expensive. The Sonic for the US, but you can import a copy from Great Britain or anywhere in Europe.
So it was was that the first time, or did they only do that because they had it out on Genesis? They put it out for Sega, or did it come out on Master System first?
No, it came out on Sega Genesis.
On Genesis,
and then they ported it. But
okay.
Yeah, and then they ported a whole bunch in Europe because it was still popular. The Master System was still popular there, and then obviously Genesis took off here in the States. So it was like one of those last, we didn't do too many pressings of this one.
No blast processing.
They did that with a lot of their games. That's how Sonic made it on there too, because Sonic was initially made as a mascot character for the Genesis, and then they ported it over to the Master System.
That's what I thought,
because people still had them, and
Afterburner.
It was selling great in Brazil and places like that. So they're like, why not?
Golf, Masters Golf, yeah. Because there's probably great golf too. We don't want to get
there is a great golf, and it's
Game Gear versions of Sonic too.
That's right.
That is true, because there was a lot of that.
Sonic for Game Gear actually was not that bad.
Right, I think I remember that.
Toning it down graphically made a lot of sense for the Game Gear, because it was strictly an 8-bit system, and even then a limited 8-bit system. But it was it was at least color.
Yes, but I mean the Game Gear itself, like when you start looking at it, not to tangent, go off on a tangent too much, but like even these games here on Game Gear, it's almost like having a second Master System, and there's a ton.
Yeah, that's kind of true, right?
There's a ton of great games on here. There's Shining Force, which is a strategy.
I never had Shining Force. I did have the. I've
heard of that. Yeah,
they had a Revenge of Shinobi style game on there. Chacon was on there.
Yeah. Defenders of Oasis, which is a fantastic game. It's like an action RPG kind of thing. There's tons of great games on here, and a lot of them they just didn't exist anywhere else.
My goodness!
Whoa.
PJ Smith, Silly Club member. God bless you. Oh my God! With a $20 super chat. He asks how many games were released for the Sega Master System. So what's the total original release, not including homebrews or anything?
Well, it depends on which region.
So there was different. So like the North American is different than obviously like
Japan. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's like Japan, like EU, US, and then forget about it. in Brazil.
Because Brazil's just a million,
absolutely,
probably still going.
Tech Toy's still making games on Master System somewhere, somehow, and it's just absolutely insane. But the U.S. total, I want to say it's in the 170s. I want to say that's right.
It's not a hard one to hit. 170.
I was scrolling through it on Wikipedia, and Wikipedia is not the end all be all, but that's where I start. And they said 158.
158. Yeah.
So
170
US,
close. They said
North
there's
American
total.
Yeah,
Master System, but
exactly.
I don't know where that
like
gap
Street Fighter 2. They were doing everything in Brazil, dude. Like they were trying to just. Oh, now that's one of my favorite. I had that. Oh, that's the one. It hurts when I had to turn that in. But yeah.
I heard good things about the Ghostbusters version on the Master System
because it was similar to Tails Adventure.
Yeah, that's on Game Gear, and it's hard to find, but it's a great game.
Shaka Khan. Ghostbusters on Master System reminds me of Ghostbusters on Commodore 64 if it was slightly upgraded. It's almost perfect. Shining. If you like Fire Emblem, you'll love Shining Force games.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 100%.
Shining Force is a very good series if you're into strategy RPGs.
I love strategy.
Oh, I can only imagine there's Mortal Kombat games from Brazil.
Oh,
8-bit Mortal Kombat.
Yes, there is.
I'll admit, Game Gear Mortal Kombat was a guilty pleasure for me. I was in high school at the time.
Mm-hmm.
We'd go on like wrestling trips for like tournaments and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd have my Game Gear up and I'd play that thing constantly.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's cool, man. I just remember my Sega Nomad because I get to play it for 45 minutes, then I'd have to find 6 more batteries to put in it.
Yeah.
I never had a
Genesis.
It was neat.
I always kind of wanted one, but I never.
It was the best, though, dude. Mortal Kombat 3, dude. I knew all my because they had the 6 buttons built right in. I was like, what was it? Sub-Zero's for Ultimate 3 was block, run, block, so it was the easiest where he blew up the persons and it was like guts and ice. And I just remember that, and it was even though on the Genesis, and this was cool about a lot of the handhelds, it would compress everything down to where it looked a lot better. To where if you were to play it on a big CRT, the graphics would be a little grainy and not right there, but playing it on the Nomad, oh my God, Ultimate 3 I think it was Ultimate 3 or just Mortal Kombat 3, was just one of my favorites. But yeah, I of all the things, like you think, like my TurboGrafx, my Sega Nomad, you name it, you wish you would have kept it and not got rid of it and thought this is garbage. No one plays this anymore. It's PlayStation time. I don't need a Nomad, and yeah, if anyone no one thought gaming would be where it is today, and we say that a million times like a broken record, but it's so true. If we kept everything from when we started gaming to now, we would have a lot of money.
Oh man.
There's urban legends about a hidden swear code that would unlock the voice, get the F over here. Really on Ultimate 3 or just Mortal Kombat's in general? I remember the BBA something the blood code on the original one.
Indy, we all said the same thing about the Game Gear.
You could just plug it in, he says.
and trust me, I had.
But then I'm limited. I'm limited to the cord.
Like freaking pill-shaped
Ghost House.
The battery pack.
And
they had I had the battery pack too.
All the time, unless
it would just go out after an hour.
Yeah.
Dude, last week in Israel is crazy. We got shook from that. Oh, you had an earthquake, Indy, dude. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the one was up in Syria.
Get hit by that really bad.
Yeah,
they got 7.8.
Yeah, man, it probably hit multiple other nations near there.
Yeah, it was there was multiple of them.
I mean, that's just something. What are you gonna do? That hits, it just hits. It's like tornadoes, earthquakes. You can't really just run. Rich knows. Rich was through that flood.
Yeah, whatever
religious man, you don't expect it. The phaser games are pretty fun. Yeah, so that's what I was talking about. The Rambo. I think it was one of the Rambos. He's saying Rambo 3.
Rambo 3 was the light gun. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, now my light gun I still had. They said when I try to turn it in, they said it wasn't functioning properly. But who knows if that was true or not. But so I still have my Sega Zapper light gun. What's your biggest gaming regret for something you sold cheap or didn't buy? Oh my God. For gaming, Well, there's two huge regrets. If I would have known then what I know now, the one was I sold like all my games. I remember this is crazy. So when I moved out to California, we all lived in a house, doing music, doing shows. I moved out there and I paid for a year's worth of rent right up front because I'd saved everything up. So I didn't have to pay any rent. Pretty much and I still had spending money. Well, about a year later, I was like, oh my God, I got to come out with, now mind you, between five guys in the late 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't too hard to come up with, $250 or whatever for a month. But anyways, I ended up selling my Intellivision, my original Intellivision games, my Atari 2600, my PlayStation, all my PlayStation games, my 3DO, all my box 3DO games, my Turbo Graphics, all my Turbo CD and Turbo Chip games. And I sold them all for like, I don't know, like $800 to $900, and it, paid for a few months rent. And we're in California. I was in Huntington Beach, Southern California. I lived for about 5 years, and then about a year and a half out in Long Beach, California. But yeah, I sold all those. Now, a story related to that. Before I was doing that, I went up to I think I've told the story a million times. So chat, yell at me if you heard this. There was a Radio Shack I went to because I pulled out my old television. I was buying a television off of eBay because I was just obsessed because there was nothing to do, and that's what I was doing in my free time. I was trying to recollect, and then I ended up selling them all. But I went to the Radio Shack, and they had one of those catalogs sitting out in the back, and they had a bunch of games. I said, "What's all these games?" It says like Tandy Vision and all this stuff. And they're like, "Oh, those are Intellivision games." And I was like, "Oh my God." He goes, "Yeah, we have a warehouse full of brand new Intellivision games. So just like boxes of them. They're trying to sell them for cheap, $5-7 a piece."
Wow.
So I ordered, and they literally had all the Spikers, all the New Pros, all the Stadium, the ones that are worth like $200, like $2,000 right now. They had cases of them. I could have bought them at $5 a piece.
Oh my goodness!
I could have paid off my house. I could have cleaned out the warehouse and paid off my house right now.
Wow!
Could you imagine having a sealed? I have never seen a sealed copy of Spiker, let alone a sealed box of 5 or 6.
Yeah, no.
And but I bought like Commando and Burger Time and Star Wars and Q*bert and like just all these crazy ones I never had growing up.
Yeah.
All brand new in the cellophane, because they still had them at the warehouse. And yeah, and I sold all those as well.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
those are my two biggest regrets, is selling all that stuff way before I knew it was worth anything, and never buying all those sealed in-box Intellivision games that are worth thousands now.
That's crazy. I mean, mine is...
Oh, yeah, 1995, exactly, for nothing, next to nothing.
Yeah, I mean, mine was probably not as painful, but I had a similar story where I was living down in Florida. I had most of my collection down there after I'd moved from Jersey, and moving back up, I needed some extra cash because I was moving by myself. So I went and sold basically a bulk of my collection. But in that collection, that if you know now, like if you knew, I wouldn't have done it. Was my Model 2 Genesis, Sega CD 32X.
Oh, the Tower of Power.
I had a near complete 32X collection, and I had every single Working Designs Sega CD game complete, with one of them, which was Lunar Eternal Blue, being the last copy that Working Designs had at their warehouse, because I called them to buy it from them. And that's, I mean, it's somebody bought it probably.
Wow, dude.
From a flea market seller that I sold to, but I sold that all because I needed to get back to the Jersey area, and I needed some cash. And it was around the same thing. It was like, $700-800 for all the stuff. And I was like, oh, well, this is not bad.
You're like, I'm making a deal, man.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, and I started recollecting after I got back and, got my house here where I'm living. And then I'm like, oh, well, let me look up some Sega CD games. And the first thing is, of course, you're going back for your Lunars, because that was one of my favorite RPGs of all time. And you went to go back, and I was like, oh, well, how much is Lunar Eternal Blue? It's like, oh, it's $175. It's like, oh, no. It's like,
That's a weird one that I wonder why it hasn't been ported over to anything else.
Well,
I don't think I've seen that game in anywhere else.
It got ported. Lunar Eternal Blue and Silver Star Story got ported to the PlayStation in '97.
Okay. Luke tosses in the early 2000s. Tosses Atari 2600 and tons of games in the dumpster. I couldn't sell it. Nobody wanted them.
Oh my goodness,
man,
that hurts.
Hey, chat. Let us know like what's your biggest regrets. Amico, bro, good topic, man. Yeah, like what is your biggest regret in gaming? Nick, what was yours? Like anything you've thrown out or never bought?
Mine's kind of twofold, and it's kind of nothing like what you guys have, but I got rid of my GameCube back in the day and my original Xbox.
Me too.
And I regret the GameCube the most of all, because the original Xbox, a lot of stuff you can still reasonably cheap. They'll play on like your 360 for the most part, and a lot of those things have been ported over and they work on like the newer systems. So it's not as big of a loss to me as like not having my GameCube. I kind of wish I'd kept that and my Waybird. And I don't know. I thought I kept the Waybird, but I have no idea where it went. That was one of the best wireless controllers at the time, in my opinion.
Yep.
And the other one was not getting into the Sony systems until the PlayStation 3. I never owned a PlayStation 1, never owned a PlayStation 2, never dug into those. And they had tons of great RPGs on those. And I just never picked one up. I hated the D-pad on that thing, and still do to this day, hate the D-pad on the PlayStation. And the only one I've come close to liking is the one on the PlayStation 4. Because it had a nice texture to it, so it would actually grip. The one on the 5 is honestly a downgrade because it feels like the one that was on my PSP, and I hated that thing because it was too slick.
The little like the chiclet,
yeah,
like the chiclet kind of thing. Oh, that's weird.
I hate those things.
I still to this day have not actually held a PlayStation 5 controller in my hands.
The PlayStation 5 controller, it's a single piece underneath it, right?
Yeah, sure.
Kind of like the PSP one is if you pull it out. And it made content better than on a PSP. Anybody who had a PSP and played any kind of fighting game was constantly opening that thing up trying to fix it because the D-pad was just junk. It was the worst thing ever. I had multiple third-party fixes. I had fixes I did on my own. They all went to pot at some point or another.
This has got to be the biggest right here, though. 10,000 copies of Atari ET, and then trying to find a plot of land of the desert to dispose of them. Wait a second. What's your real name? The PlayStation 5 controller
uses the same exact D-pad as the PSP used.
Oh, there's a Pioneer Laserdisc and a Sega Genesis plug-in. Oh, no. I was spilling grape juice on my Pokemon Blue manual.
Whoops.
I gave a complete boxed copy of Dark Tower board game to a coworker. Not really a regret, though. She said her mother threw her copy away when she was a kid. That's nice of you. That's awesome when you can help someone out to give something. That's
that game was pretty cool, though. You guys ever played Dark Tower? Yeah.
Is that the board game? Is that the one that also had? Oh, I'm thinking of something different. I was going to say the one that came.
I want to say I saw that on AVGN one point where he was trying to play, but he was trying to play the NES version.
Hey, Scepter, what's going on? Good to see you, man.
What's up, Scepter?
Hey, what's up?
I could be thinking of the wrong thing, but.
So I do want to get into this. Whoops. Where's the? Oh yeah, I do got to do a poll. I apologize. I am slipping. I am slipping. I was doing stuff all the way up to where we're coming, but we are going to get into some Evercade talk because I know Rich is the Evercade man. He has Evercade live stream. I was trying to think at the Evercast.
Yes,
and it's on Saturday mornings, right?
That's right. 11 a.m. EST.
What time is it on?
11 a.m. EST.
Okay, 11 Eastern. Okay,
But just for one more week on Bacon Ice Cream Productions, it will be moving to the Evercade effect. As of the 18th.
I wondered if he was going to.
This is like the third move because originally it was on
Evercade. It was on Pete's channel.
It was on,
and then it moved to Rich's channel, and now it's moving to Evercade effect.
Yep, it's part of the whole design of the show is to actually be a living, breathing member of the community. So we actually plan to keep passing it along And then like again, once we get through the year or whatever that Ed will have the show, we won't like maybe we'll make a channel for the Evercast finally, or maybe it'll go back to Pete, or maybe it'll go to Crow, or come back here. Like it's fun because it actually introduces the rest of the audience to to everyone's respective channel.
Hey, how many 8-bit systems were there? Just Sega, NES, and Atari 8-bit?
Yeah, there's Atari, Sega,
and NES, right?
NES.
Yeah, those are the only 8-bit ones that I'm aware of.
I'm going to put that as a poll. Let's see what is the best 8-bit system. Is it going to be, and everybody can vote for their favorite. It's either Sega Master System, NES, or Atari 8-bit.
Yeah. Yes, I actually bought this Astro Smash shirt because I was a huge fan of Big Bang Theory, and Sheldon wears like seven or eight different episodes.
Oh, easily!
That shirt's awesome. So I found it. This one is actually from Intellivision Productions.
Water Supervision. Oh, Supervision. I have that one too, man. I got it because for I think Intellivision Productions was doing it, which was the Keith Robinson one. I got one from that, and then I forgot where, but they sell them all over eBay now.
It's the
maybe not as much now, but they were for a bit.
Yeah, it's the score that's the difference, because the ones from Entertainment, because you can get them on the site still, I think.
Okay.
Those ones have I think it's 1979 or 78 as the score.
Oh, the 470 is from the Sheldon one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah,
So poll is up now. I do apologize, guys. We're talking a lot of 8-bit, so I figure we'll throw best 8-bit system. So vote away. Also, I wanted to talk to you because of the Evercast, and so much going on, and I had I was about to put the fourth option as neither. I'd prefer turbo graphics, but I did that last time because I always try to mess with people because I love
graphics. Was that weird thing where I think it had like an 8-bit processor, but
it had like double 8-bit processors, so it could handle more graphically, almost like a 16-bit. But I don't know. Some of those, if you see some of the games though, like if you see Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition, like the Japan PC Engine version, the Hue card, it holds up way better than, if not the same, to like a Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So,
what about the Microvision? I don't think the Microvision was 8-bit.
Yeah, I mean,
fourth option, Microvision.
Did Amiga or ZX Spectrum, did they get into the 8-bit? Or were they?
I don't know. I never really paid attention to bits on PC.
I guess it really would just be Sega and NES for home consoles. And the 8-bit computer, I guess, would be considered, because it's, to me, that's the only one I remember other than the other two.
Right.
But yeah, but anyways, we got those. But moving on to Evercade. So I'm kind of excited because I want to get back into it. I got back here, I got collections 1 through 26.
Nice.
And I need to try to fill in some.
And I've only got the arcades 1 and 2. And then I dropped off of collecting, and I need to get back into it this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, 27 is something that is, oh my goodness.
Okay, it's 27 is that
it's Always Awakening and Cathedral, the dual card.
Oh, really?
That game, Cathedral, is so good. And Always is like real close. I mean, I prefer Cathedral to Always right now.
Yeah.
But both of those games, if you're into any kind of like Castlevania or Metroid, like those kind of games.
Yeah, I do. So that's cool, like a platforming.
Very good.
I absolutely love it. So like that's good. So now, as far as everything that's out right now, and I guess that would be one of them. Yep. And Nick, you got Evercade too, right?
I haven't picked anything up in a long time. I was starting to fill in gaps, but it was I still need to, but a lot of it's just stuff that I didn't pick up. Do what?
Oh, sorry. I was trying to. It was flashing, so I must have missed the cat card. The DJ. Oh yeah. No, Mega Cat, because I was
Mega Cat,
Mega Cat.
I am not Mega Cat Studios. Oh my god!
I still need to fill in a bunch of the gaps before a lot of the cards go in, because mine's all.
Did you say Cat Fighter? Oh, I get it, guys. I get it. I know what you want. Oh, there it is. Hold on.
I went
if only I
mostly
was
for
ready.
ones that had games that I was interested in to start with.
Gotta have
And
it
then
at least
someone
once.
else wanted. And another. All right, now that we got all the cat fighters.
Okay, moving on in the conversation. I'm done.
Okay, so there was two. So before we get out our best or favorite ones, there was two that I just absolutely. People are giving me crap because it was all tongue in cheek. I don't really hate like any developer or hate any games. They put a lot of time and effort into it. But the two that just I was like, oh no, these are the worst. Like I don't like them. I will never visit them again. Of course, I'm going to collect them and still buy them. But was the Worms collection, and people are like, oh, how could you? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't dig it. And then the other thing was the Mega Cats collection. Oh, and then I will say this, although it was more or less because I wasn't used. Dizzy. Esmel in the house. What's going on, dude?
The Oliver Twins collection. Yeah,
the Oliver Twins.
I mean,
but the cool thing about that is it goes. I think there was like a charity thing with that too.
100%.
So I was actually going to pick up a couple copies at that time, but I think they're already out of those.
So they're a lot of weird things are happening over the Evercade land. So that cartridge, Technos 1, Namco Museum 1 and 2, and Shot to My Heart Pico 1 are now what is called legacy cartridges. That means no more production on those cartridges. So whatever is in stock is that's what it is, and then it's gone.
So Pico 1 and the two Namcos.
Pico 1, the two Namcos, Technos 1, and the Oliver Twins collection.
Dude, I was at one of my favorite retro stores. Now I'm not going to say it, but they had both those for $20.
Yeah, man.
They had both Namcos and both Namcos for $20. So I think I might have to go pick those up.
If they're not,
I paid $40 for my Namco 2, which is my favorite one because it's got the Sega versions of Splatterhouse 2 and 3, which are my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, man.
Fell in love with Dizzy games right from the get-go, and that's why it's like that was my other one I didn't get, but if I grew up with it, 100% I would get it. I would take it.
Well, a lot of the games.
Atari Creep.
Yes.
What's up, Chris?
Yes.
What's up, Atari Creep?
Sega Master System all the way.
Yes. That's where my vote is anyway.
Chat, let us know your favorite Evercade card. If you play or collect Evercade, what you like, what you don't like. Amused One says, no, Rab. I had an amusing story to tell him about that sucky game, Deadly Towers. Hello, everyone. Yeah, he's feeling under the weather, hoping he gets well. He's kind of probably wrapped it like a burrito in his room with one of those cartoon things, bags in his head full of ice or something. That's how I view this people sick is a cartoon. Matt says, I was always a Liero fan growing up, like Worms, but real-time battles, real fun. See, I like Bomberman, and I don't mind a couple games similar to where you're multiplayer and you're doing stuff like that. Worms, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know why.
I loved Worms when I was growing up because I used to play that on PC, and it's an awesome experience. And when I picked up the collection, I was like, oh, sweet. You know what? I'm going to just jump in. I'm going to play Armageddon. It's going to be awesome. The only thing, though, is you have to play with friends, right? So trying to play it on the handheld, it's like, all right, it's okay. What we really need to do is get the VS and 4.
No, I only had handheld at the time. Yeah, I only had handheld at the time, so like maybe revisit it with multiple controllers. That I could understand, but me trying to like check it out, just first impression, I was like, "Oh, these are crap," because it was just me. Nick, what was your like from what you've collected so far? What was your favorite?
I'd probably say Indie Heroes. That was probably my favorite card.
Indie Heroes 1, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Indie Heroes 1, because I don't have the second one. The Indie Heroes 1 had a lot of really interesting, cool, unique ideas floating around. A lot of old school nostalgia in there. A lot of RPGs.
Yes.
So if you're an RPG fan, that was definitely the card for you. Out of all the stuff on the Evercade, for people to go, well, it doesn't have any RPGs, I'm like, just pick up Indie Heroes 1 and you'll have like almost 10.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, and besides Indie Heroes 1, and I mean, and 2 now, because 2 has a couple of the action RPGs. There's another Anguna game on Indie Heroes 2, but Pico 1 is the other one that has like a lot of good RPGs. Renovation has more RPGs. Maybe not.
See, I got the Renovation one, but I
Wait,
got
which
that
one's
mostly because
Renovation?
it
Is
had,
that 28 or 20?
That's 23.
Valis.
That's card 23.
Oh, I'm missing. Okay, so I apologize. I'm 1 through 26. Asterisk, I'm missing 23 and 24.
Oh man!
So I have to get those two to
You're
collect.
a shooter fan, aren't you?
Oh, I love shooters.
Oh my god, you have to pick up Renovation like tomorrow.
So, I know. I think it's Gremlin.
So
Gremlin and Renovation are the two that I'm missing to reach up to that, right?
Yeah, Gremlin's, Gremlin's all right. Collect it if you're trying to get all the numbers is what I would recommend.
I am. I'm trying to get
that one. But Renovation, oh man, is that
Renovation I picked up mostly because it had Valis.
Valis is good.
I mean, Valis is amazing. Wait, is it the Valis from TurboGraphics or is it the Valis from?
I'm not sure which one they put on there.
It's not the TurboGrafx version for sure.
So what is it like? What did that come out on in Genesis or
must have been Genesis or Super Nintendo? Yeah.
Okay.
Some of them.
Luke says Data East. I agree. I agree.
Data East is great. 2 and 3 were on the Genesis, and I don't know where one came from.
Data East on the arcade one. Okay, so Scepter says it's the Genesis Valis. Okay.
Yeah, that's usually most of those games that Blaze is getting the licenses for when it's in that 16-bit genre. They're mostly Mega Drive, is where they're getting them from. I don't know why, but that just seems to be the
I think it was bigger in Europe. That's why.
Yeah.
Aren't they a European company?
Yes. Yeah, they're from
Mega Drive was always bigger than
England.
Super Nintendo overseas.
Yeah.
So, but oh man, Guy Harris blew me away. I'm not a huge shooter fan, but man, Guy Harris is such a good game. I implore everyone that is a shooter fan to play that game. That is such a good game.
Cool. I can't wait to try that out. Yeah, now there is some new stuff coming out, and
yes.
So this I probably don't know much about. I know there was some C64, so I want to ask that first. They're already okay. So you have one. You have the first one. Yes. There's a second one coming out. So what is on the first one? And for me, I was always third party stuff. So I'm guessing a lot of stuff on there I'm not going to remember, but I'm still curious.
So the C64 collection, collection 1 is very heavy on Epics. If you remember Epics as a third party publisher, super heavy. Summer games, winter games.
Oh, Lynx. My buddy likes Lynx too. That collection.
Oh, Lynx is very good. Yeah. Summer games, winter games, Jumpman, Impossible Mission, Gateway to Apshai, Monster movie game, or the movie Monster game, I should say. Stormlord, Idris Alpha, which is a Jeff Minter game. Street Sports Basketball, Battle Valley, Marauder, Lee, which is a Bruce Lee game without the license.
Nice. Hey, John, what's happening? Good to see you.
Hey, John.
Subterranean, Alley Cat. Those are the 14 games on C64.
Are you working, John? Are you working? I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Please do though.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the 14 on C64 1. C64 2 has another 14 games on it. World games.
Right here, you worked an Amiga version of Street Sports Basketball.
Nice. Very cool. Street Sports Basketball is actually one of the titles on C64 2.
Nice.
Which is cool. So I'm gonna be looking forward to checking that one out. And what else is there? There's a whole bunch of like weirder games that are on there.
That kind of sums up Evercade for me. Like weird games.
It is. It's like
it is. It really is.
It's all like there's just bizarro stuff out of left field that you may love and you may hate it. You just
that's what it is. A lot of people either super love it or just like I'm pretty 50-50 on it. There's stuff that I would never play. But there's usually at least something on each cart that I'm like, okay.
I think I lean a little more positive on a lot of them than you do, but then
there was like the Mega Cats. I couldn't. That was a hard time.
Yeah, I don't know if I have the Mega Cats one or not.
And the worms.
I know you weren't super keen on a lot of stuff on Indie Heroes, and a lot of people on Indie Heroes was pretty much a Rockstar for me, except for that one brawler game they had that I thought was kind of. It was a really good attempt.
What was the one
doing,
part that had the people
like,
running on the logs, spinning the logs?
Log jammers.
Log jammers. What a name!
I'm pretty sure that log.
What Joey Vive says? What Evercade would you recommend, dude? Get the VS, which is
VS is a great move.
Do you want, unless you like handhelds, which I don't. Oops, as everything's falling.
I have mine sitting here that I need to get connected in the other room. It's been collecting dust, but the VS
Evercade VS, it holds
is solid.
Oh, there you go. There's Nick holding one.
It holds 2 cards.
Two
which
at the
mine
same
actually
time.
has my indie heroes in it right now.
That's right.
So that, and a lot of times if you get certain collections and you put them both in here, it unlocks new games. So that's also kind of cool. Nice.
That is cool. Yes.
So I recommend that. And then if you don't have the handheld and you want a handheld, just get the new handheld.
Get the new one.
Do not get the new one.
Yeah.
This one, and I'm not trying to talk crap once again, but this is the third time that I've had to get a new one. I'm not anymore. I'm going to try to find one on eBay and make sure it's working and pop it in the box.
Honestly, mine works fine.
It's my pixels going out on my screen, but the new one is a way better version of this. Way better version, and you can play games like this, so you can play all your vertical arcades the proper way, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other big thing is on the EXP, you finally have one of those. You finally have like the big one, right? Like a lot of people know that are collectors. They know Atari Lynx, they know Technos, they know Pico, they know all that stuff. But this is the one that they finally got, the one collection that literally everyone knows, and that's Capcom. So like embedded in every single EXP is I think it's 18 Capcom games.
Oh,
and it's not like they're just like
it's
not just like random games. Like it's Street Fighter, it's Mega Man, it's 1942, it's like all they just paraded out all of the awesome games. So and it's really, really cool. I mean, I dig it. I like mine. Like there we go. And
it looks.
I mean, it's gonna get washed out, I think, because of the light.
It's a little bit. There you go, a little bit. But it's like a newer and improved version of that original one. But
do one of these, maybe? Nah.
You can kind of see it. We get it though. But that's cool. Michael says you need both to play all the carts. Only VS can play in television, and only the handheld can play the Namco. That is true. Yeah, the Namcos will only play on the handhelds.
Yep. Yeah, the EXP still plays the Namco ones. I confirmed
that is correct
with the guys.
Now the cool thing about
that was my worry is that they would lose that ability with the EXP, and you'd have to keep your old Evercade handheld around to be able to continue to play those.
So even though mine's busted on the screen, I can play, which I never really use handheld much, except when I wanted to play Night Stalker, and that's when it just busted on me. I was like, okay, I guess I can't do that. Oh. But I plug in. I always plug it in and use it as a controller and plug it directly into either my computer or on the TV with an HDMI adapter that it's got. So you can use it to play, like if you want to play Splatterhouse 2 and 3, the Namcos and stuff like that on your TV, you can use the handheld to do it. You just use your handheld as the controller.
That's right.
And, so you can do either, depending on the carts you want to collect. If you want to get everything, though, that would be the way.
Yeah. Keep in mind that's I think at most a 720p resolution on that. It doesn't do 1080, but I don't think the EXP does 1080 either. I think they kept it at 720.
Born says Evercade should use OLED screens. Are those? What do they use? Did they not OLED screens?
They're not OLED in the. Yeah, they're not OLED. I mean, certainly wasn't OLED in the original, but no OLED in the EXP either. And maybe it's just cost cutting.
Probably too.
I think that's specifically just to keep.
And you're playing retro. You're not playing anything.
I was about to say the games aren't really going to benefit from an OLED screen anyway.
That kind of makes sense, but I get it, Born. I get it.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen.
Luke says Born is an OLED gatekeeper. Well, I understand though.
I would have liked to have seen the EXP have a higher resolution when you put it to TV, like 1080. Yeah. That's what I would have liked to have seen as a quality of life improvement on it.
Yeah. For sure.
So before we probably go in a little bit, about another 5-10 minutes or so, I did want to ask chat though, if we're not, and like I said, we are waiting on Amico news. There is some Amico features I wanted to show. I'm not going to be showing gameplay. We know that I'm under NDA for doing the testing and stuff like that. But I can show you guys controllers and some more light features, and I'm just going to see if that's something I can kind of show. And I'll show you different ways you can change the lights and stuff like that. So I was going to try to do a video tonight, but I've been so busy laying tile down here that I literally didn't get a chance to do it. So maybe that'll be coming out this week. But if we do have, this is a question for chat. If we do have zero Amico news next week, I would like to see what topics you'd like us to discuss, what game systems, throw out some topics. And actually, as a matter of fact, let us know, and we'll see whatever the most you put out there, and we'll throw a poll up really quick before we leave. That way we can see, what you'd like us to talk about next week, so that way it's a little more engaging for you guys. So I figure we try that. And, but anyways, that's cool. And what other Evercade carts are coming besides C64 2? There was some, I know there was other computers and some other stuff that was out, because the blue carts were, I just remember like the originals, the burgundy, the red, and then you had the arcades were the purple. And then you had the computer ones were blue, or C64 at least.
Yeah, the arcades purple, the regulars are red, and then the blues.
The microcomputers are blue. And it is microcomputer collection, not just C64.
Oh, okay. So it does the Amiga stuff on there too.
They did announce just late last year that the Amiga Corp did enter in an agreement with Blaze, so that there will be at least one Amiga collection, most likely two or more, coming this year. And they just announced their roadmap for 2023, which included a arcade collection, which is IREM, not IREM. It's it's the one I didn't have. Toa Plan 2. So there's a Toa Plan 1 that released when the EXP did. But Toa Plan Arcade 2 is coming out at the same time
I gotta get those
the C64 Collection 2, and that's in April. Those drop or March, as well as the beginning of the new season of Game of the Month, which will lead up to the release in February of 2024 of the Indie Heroes 3 collection. Because they've already announced Indie Heroes 3 will be a thing. Those are the ones to look forward to. They just announced the Toa Plan and C64 2 collections in the last week. So in another month, the cadence will start. It'll be announce, pre-order, release, release. Throughout the entire year, there'll be 14 carts released from now until the end of February in 2024. So that's awesome, and it also kind of indicates that maybe this year is the year that they actually go heavy on the carts and maybe a little less on the hardware. No indication that there's going to be.
I thought making new hardware so quickly after the VS was weird, and it seems to be working for them. I just thought it was an odd choice.
Going with the handheld.
Yeah, going with the new handheld just after the VS.
The reason why the EXP exists is to bring parity to the VS, because the original handheld couldn't do things that the VS could. So that their position was, well, let's just make the handheld be able to do the things that the VS can, so that way we can deliver the same things on both systems, which is exactly what they're doing now. So Game of the Month, for example, which was only a VS feature, will now be on EXP because it has the built-in Wi-Fi and it has the built-in.
I didn't know. Wait, what's Game of the Month? See, this is how far behind I am. So I have a VS.
They've been dropping games new games every month that you can get. I haven't been picking a lot of them up.
Oh, so if I update mine, am I going to get a ton of games all of a sudden?
You'll get one because they release one a month in each firmware, and then the next month that the new one comes out, it erases the other one. So that
so you only get to play it for a month,
for 30 days, and then if you like the game, then they hope that you buy in this case, it's Indie Heroes 2 because that was the cartridge that was last year's.
So you get to preview like a game off an upcoming cart,
Correct.
So that you can see. Oh, that's kind of neat, though. I dig that.
It's really awesome. I've been having a lot of fun previewing each one. I have previewed each one on my channel as soon as they drop. Usually within a week, I'll play that game on a Fun for 5. And then sometimes, very often actually, I'll stop recording and then continue playing the game. And I have to stop myself sometimes. It's like, oh wait, I don't want to finish it right now because I want to enjoy it when the cart comes out. I've done that so far, except for one game, which was Lunar Journey, because I actually wound up during the Fun for 5 almost completing the game in that one run, and I didn't even realize that I was there until it was like, oh, this looks like this is actually like ending the story, because it was only like 20 minutes. I was like, wow, couldn't believe I got to the end of the game in 20 minutes.
That's cool. That's something to look forward to. So chat, did you have any topics or stuff you'd like us to discuss for next week? Oh yes. Producer says I have 5 topics. So yes, let's throw them up and we'll see what maybe we guilty pleasures games, chat.
That's a pretty good
that's not bad. Like one that you're like, I don't really want people to know I like this game. Is that kind of the run?
I think that's the gist of it. Like a game that people predominantly hate, but you don't.
Yeah.
Like if I was like, guys, I really love Candy Crush. Guess what level I'm at? You're like, oh my God, no one's playing Candy Crush right now. And I'm like, but it's a guilty pleasure. So something like that.
Yeah.
Best couch co-op games on any system.
That's a cool one.
32, 16, or that's really cool.
See, couch co-op to me gets vicious very quickly because, like, if you're doing stuff like Contra or even like New Super Mario Brothers U,
heck, these could all be topics.
Or using you to jump off and just be trollish. It gets you get combative with each other more than you.
For sure.
Well, mine's definitely not Worms, but but anything else usually is fine.
He secretly loves Worms, guys.
Nice.
With the same passion I love Earthborn Jim.
I'd like to see what is MM
massively multiplayer online role-playing games. Let me help you out.
Oh, would make a smooth transfer to a console. So stuff like World of Warcraft, right?
Yeah.
Like
Final Fantasy 14 already makes a pretty smooth transfer on that.
Yeah.
And
I
DC Universe
like
was built around a controller to start. So there's two.
That's true. Yeah.
I like Luke's topic right there.
That's just pandering.
Nick's like, dude, he mentions TurboGrafx every single time.
Every episode
Steve's got a great one, a Tiger Handheld episode.
Yeah. Well, how about one about this thing?
Ooh, what's that?
That is a Neo Geo Pocket Color.
Nice.
Very cool.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's neat. I like it.
The games you're best at personally. These are
cool.
all great.
That's a short
really
list
good
for
one.
me, sir. None.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to all these. I mean, I'm not even gonna do the poll. I say I hold on to them, and we do a lot of these next week. Probably not the Tiger handhelds, although that's a great topic.
Yes, Tiger handhelds.
But I don't have any Tiger handhelds. I know some people really collect those.
I had a few.
What's happening, dude?
What's up, Relic? I had a bunch of them when I was younger because it seemed like you couldn't go anywhere without tripping over those things. They were they literally had a Mortal Kombat 3. Tiger Dude, I had Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. I had the Turtles one.
I got my son the Transformers.
I think it's cool because
I thought about picking up the Transformers one just because it exists.
Yeah,
dude, it's kind of like these
just because it exists.
I got these here because they exist. You think I'm going to play auto racing in television on an LCD screen? No, but it's going to look good on my wall because the graphics on the front of the case looks cool. I'm sure the Tiger handheld's Turtles in Time plays like crap, but does the graphics on the case look amazing?
Oh, this was like one of the Konami ones. That was
it's all about collection.
Long. It was ridiculous.
Nice.
The Transformers one has the nice like Gen 1 box art art on it, which looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's cool. Well, I am going to close this poll up. I know it was a last minute poll and we only had about 40 some votes, but It looks like NES knocked it out, but Atari 8-bit came in second, and Sega Master System last. 20, but it was 54, 24, and 22.
Which
so
one won?
NES. Oh yeah, NES.
I'm not hugely surprised there.
Yeah, I mean that's it's just a given. Every Christmas I got a Game Boy, but it was really just Tiger handheld. We got you another Game Boy,
dude. What was so funny is the entire time the Game Boy was out, running and just killing it in the handheld market, everybody was still getting the Tiger ones, man.
That's right.
You go to anybody had a Game Boy and they're playing the Game Boy. There's like a stack almost as high as the kid. A freaking Tiger handheld game sitting there. And they're like, eh.
I demand a recount. Sega was robbed once again. Well, it only went for 20 minutes where we usually let it go for an hour or so for the poll. So it's only got like half the votes.
Like 45 alt accounts and continue.
Yeah. Not many alt accounts here anymore, so it's kind of hard to have those votes. As much as I love Atari 8-bit, there's no way it compares to Master System. There you go, right there. That's what we like to hear.
Atari kind of shot themselves in the foot on that one too because of the sound chip that they use.
NLG loves it. Atari 8-bit coming in second. I'll take it.
That's true. Yeah.
I want to get eventually on my what is this? If you do genre streams, you focus discussion on a certain genre of your favorite games. Yeah, these are great ideas, and I'm going to go through actually all of these and maybe throw together a couple more episodes, for the next couple weeks. Like I said, if we don't have any Amico news, then that's what we're going to keep rolling with. Like we said from the beginning, we're not going to stop the show. We're just going to keep going, talking games, because we love talking to you guys and hanging out and having people like Rich and Nick and Rab and everyone. We're all just talking, and it's fun. That's why we're not stopping it. But anyways, there is some stuff I got coming up on my channel, which is going to be, I got tomorrow, which is 3DO Thursdays. I have let me see, there's my banner. 3DO Thursdays, I have Burning Soldier. This episode isn't as long as most. It's not like over an hour. It's maybe about 48 minutes long or so, because Burning Soldier is what it is, and I played as best as I could through it and discussed it a little bit. But I will be live in private in the chat when we end up doing the premiere. It's tomorrow at 8:30, so I'll be in there chatting it up for as long as the episode is. I'm sorry it wasn't longer, but yeah, Burning Soldier, kind of a new one, and. Also, I have like I said, I'm going to show you guys some stuff with the lights on the Amico, and kind of just show you some stuff on that. And I'm hoping to eventually get, and this is a big maybe because I know the guy is super busy, but I was hoping to try to get John Alvarado on an episode of 3DO Thursdays because he worked on Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone for 3DO. So I'd like to get like an interview with him, and probably have them. What's going on, Fastback? And so hopefully we'll have him on for 3DO Thursdays at some point in the next couple months or so. I also need to get that game again. It's one I had growing up. And then, of course, we also have the classic show, Astro Smashed Mondays with me and Papa Pete and Go Game Go every Monday at 7 Eastern. And anyways, that's really all I got going. I figured I'd just throw that all out there. And then, Nick, what you got coming up on your channels?
I had a couple things released this week. I did a Moments in Gaming History on Xbox Live. I figured it was time to kind of hit Xbox and kind of where it pushed online gaming onto consoles and how big of an impact that was. Because it was kind of like a big deal, at least in my mind. Like, consoles were really kind of behind in that area until Microsoft kind of really pushed that envelope, including a LAN cable and all that. And then today I released something, and this was another one I got from people that are friends of the show. My buddy Dreadpool, who's also part of the GUG, sent me a link to this weird cart I had never seen before. It had 2 Genesis control ports on the cart. And I'm like, what the heck? So I started doing some digging into it, and it's something called a J cart. Yeah. So I did a video on that today. There was only about 6 games that ever used that, kind of late in the Genesis life. So that was kind of an interesting project there.
Nice.
I got all the voiceover work and I got a lot of clips and stuff done for the fighting game one that I want to do. And then I planned on doing a bunch of editing this week and being ready and being able to work some more on it. And then I started feeling really bad on Friday and couldn't focus. And then Saturday I was sick all day. So literally Sunday I crashed the video on Xbox. I think I did it in like 3 hours. Like the whole thing. Wrote it, recorded it, edited it, and got it uploaded with the thumbnail. Wow. Yesterday, I basically did the same thing with the J-Cart. So I'm getting really good at, and when it comes down to crunch time, of pushing through things that I have no business being able to get through. So that's been interesting. And then finally, a controller that I have been waiting forever to finally get in my hands finally arrived, and that's this Vectrix controller.
Nice.
What's weird about this controller, this is modular. This removes, and this part removes. The D-pad pops off and has 2 other D-pads. But these modules move around. Literally, you can unscrew them and put them in different places. And it also comes with a fight pad module. This is actually one of the modules. Right?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right? So it just kind of snaps in there in the bottom, and then you screw it in. But this is honestly a really good fight pad. I was surprised at some of the stuff I was able to pull off on Street Fighter with this.
Nice.
And I've never been a fight pad fan. I've always been an arcade advocate. But this is almost changing my mind a little bit. It's that good.
That's really cool.
So I might do a review on this. I might not. I don't do much with my Geeks with Cash channel. This is a chance to kind of do something with it that could be interesting. Because hardware reviews have always kind of done decently well on that channel. I just don't have the money to continuously buy expensive hardware and have it sit and have the space for it sitting around my house constantly for me to do that kind of thing on the regular. So I don't do it as much. I've still been kind of putting it through its paces. It's worked pretty significantly well on my Steam Deck. Once I got it configured, it's a little weird to get it to register. There's some oddities there that I'd have to go into the video as far as recognizing it. But it comes in a nice case. It's even got like a little Velcro strap that holds the cable in it. Like when you open it up on the top here, the cable actually has a little Velcro thing that's tied to it. So it holds it in place. So it doesn't get out of sorts everywhere or anything like that when you're doing it, and everything else stores in there, along with a little screwdriver that came with it, which you can't see because I can't get the angle right.
Oh yeah.
To be able to screw everything.
That's pretty sweet, man.
It's a pretty sweet setup for what it is.
And that's USB, so it can hook up, or it's wireless, right? Wireless and
it does both. And that's one of the reasons I was so interested in it, is it has a wireless mode, and it also has a wired mode, which means you plug it in and it acts just like a wired controller. It doesn't try to just charge off of it and use the wireless. It just acts like a wired controller. So I thought that was kind of an interesting distinction. So, like I said, I'm still putting it through its paces. That's kind of one of the things. And then I'm trying to get a big Game Pass episode of Retro Roots going. Everybody's been sick. I was sick. Panda was sick. Now Rab is sick. It's that time of year.
I have to stay away from you guys.
Well, I'm going to cough into the mic and it'll transfer.
Right. It comes through the mic. That's
kind of like Panda's sickness, transferred from wherever he is digitally to me,
digitally. It's digital transfer.
That's right. Digital transfer of real life viruses now.
Real life virus.
Congratulations. You guys are all welcome. So that's kind of what I have going on. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on that's floating up in the air. I'm working on a new series with Brad called Unsung Heroes. We're going to try to finally get that off the ground. Yeah. That's where we're going to start going into people in the industry that maybe didn't get as much credit, like the Cliff Balinskis and the John Carmacks and stuff like that. Not that I may not cover those on there if there's something interesting, but I want to dig into them more to find out who was working with them, who was doing what with them that maybe didn't get the big notoriety that they got, like all the fame and stuff like that. And what did they do, right? That kind of stuff. Just some of these people that don't normally get that kind of recognition.
Tanner,
Dig
your
more
flute,
into,
thanks.
you know, where they were born,
It
what they were
spreads
into
through the
growing up.
blockchain.
Virus spreads through blockchain, Jesus. Oh, what you know, what kind of way they grew up. What were they into as kids? You know,
Yeah.
where did they go to college? What jobs did they do before they hit it big? Did they do anything after? That kind of stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It may be short videos, it may be long videos. It just depends on what I can find and how I can organize it, right? So those are the kind of things I've kind of got in mind. But I'm going to shut up now and let Rich talk.
Rich, what do you got coming up on your channel?
So
Rich is like, good, he shut up.
It's all good. So we've got some cool stuff coming up. Of course, directly on Bacon Ice Cream Productions, we got Saturday is the Evercast. Again, it's the last gasp here for Bacon Ice Cream Productions for the Evercast until we ship it off to Ed over on the Evercade Effect. So come on over Saturday, 11 a.m. EST is gonna be awesome. Sunday around the 4 p.m. EST mark, maybe a little earlier, definitely not a little later, but somewhere around there. It'll be me and my buddy Joe Montana.
For Super Bowl Sunday.
Playing some Super Bowl prediction episodes. It'll be Eagles versus the Chiefs. And right now, actually, on a video that I did yesterday on my channel, I asked everyone, hey, I don't know who to play, so tell me who to play. And then whoever tells me more Eagles or more Chiefs, whatever wins. And that's what I'm playing. I will be the player one on that team. So that'll be pretty cool. And then on some other channels, there'll be some exciting things. Calling All Retro Gamers, which is the side channel of me and Evercade Effect Ed himself. We will be interviewing MC Murr tomorrow, which will be pretty cool. He's a cool guy. He does a lot of really awesome retro pickup videos. He does a really cool series about GameStop where he uses his Power Up Rewards Pro card to get free games using that $5 coupon. He's a cool dude. I've been watching his channel for a while. It'll be cool to hang out and talk with him. And then I just literally right before the show got another invite to yet another show that is in the Gamers United Guild. I just have to figure out how and when and where all of that is happening, but I may just appear there as well. And then of course, there's Golden Axe Warrior. When am I going to complete it? Who knows? But I am right there. I am at the last regular dungeon until I got to go in there and then whack that Death Adder in the head with the Golden Axe.
That's awesome.
And end this thing, and that's going to be awesome. That will happen. The day I do the final dungeon, though, to go into Death Adder, it will be live. And if I play my cards correct, it may actually be the live 300th episode of Good Times with Retro Rich, of which there is an open door invitation to anyone in the Gamers United Guild or any other one of my friends, whoever wants to show up, of course.
Yeah, let me know about that. I wouldn't mind checking that out. I guess it depends on the scheduling, but just let me know.
Yeah,
I would love to.
Yeah, a lot of it seems like your Evercade podcast. Like a lot of times I catch maybe the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
because I sleep in until 8 or 9 o'clock. Well, 8 or 9 o'clock my time is 11 o'clock your time.
Yes.
So I wake up and go, hey, look, bye guys.
Yeah, see ya. We have a tight schedule at the Evercast because of course we're coordinating all over the country. I am on the East Coast.
Yeah.
We got people in the center of the country, and then we got people all the way out in the West there. So poor Pete. He wakes up at 6 a.m. to get ready for the show.
He's kind of a morning person anyway. Because
he is kind of a morning person.
See, I'm like the opposite. If I get up and catch it, I'm like, I'm up, because I'm usually not.
yeah. I mean, but it's fun. It's
sometimes awesome. There's been a couple times where I had to get up, so I'm like, oh, good. At least this is on. I can watch this.
Right. Well, I mean, but then there's 3/4 of our audience is actually in the UK. So it's so we got to be cognizant of when we go live.
True, that's true.
You can't have a show like this now because it's 3 o'clock in the morning over there, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's all good fun. And I also want to say 100% thank you for having me coming over and hanging out with you guys. I love hanging out with you guys.
We got to do it more often, man.
I know. I don't reach out to the GOG guys enough. And
Anytime.
the ones that really focus on retro and not just like Xbox and PlayStation feud stuff is so small. I feel like it's almost like a subset.
Yeah.
I've actually talked to Mike about that a couple times about trying to get the people that do retro a little more communicative, because the ones that are all Xbox are always chatting on like Twitter and stuff. But I feel like all the retro guys are like, okay.
Yeah. The thing is, I guess we just gotta like poke at each other, right? Just like, come on.
You'd be like, hey, wake up! We're doing this week or something. But I do want to thank chat as the numbers are dropping because we're leaving. But I wanted to thank chat so much for the support of this show and really becoming engaged, and we're having a really fun time now. And I really thank you for all the support on kind of like our new format and our new rules. And I appreciate everyone being nice to each other, making this a great place for everyone to come and chat retro gaming, Amico when that comes. And for people just tuning in now, hold on. Some people are either watching this in the replay or they're just tuning in because they didn't watch the whole show. And that is why, could you believe that amazing news? Boy, you're going to have to watch this whole show to figure out the amazing news I just talked about the Amico.
Blown away.
Wow. Isn't that blow your guys' mind? Wow. Oh my goodness.
Out of control.
It's crazy. It's the best crazy Amico news we've had all year. I hope you guys caught it.
Woo.
All right.
Can't wait.
We'll see you next week for some of those other crazy topics. And maybe a Rab if he's feeling better.
Yeah, feel better, man.
He will eventually.
Take care.
Self-isolating.
See you guys.